This is an article from Crux. Pope who once advised learning from tattoos bans them in the Vatican. So we'll read this, but I just want to first of all say this is, I think, really cool.
Yeah.
And I'm someone with a tattoo, so I feel like I can get away with saying what I'm about to say, and that is people today without tattoos, like yourself, are the new people with tattoos. Like, you're the cool one because everybody and their mother has decided to scribble all over themselves. And then when you call them to account for why they've done this, they talk about how this means something to me or something like that.
Right. Yeah.
And I'm not saying they're intrinsically bad or anything like that, but I think it's worth kind of pointing at, especially to our children. Go, see that woman? Imagine how much prettier she would have been if she didn't get tattoos all up her arm. Don't ever do that.
Right.
That's what I do with my children. I don't know if you would do something similar.
Probably. I don't know. The thing about tattoos that is so striking to me is slightly their history, right? Part of it is the history.
Okay.
You tattoo a slave, so that happened, or like branding, that sort of thing. I mean, you did that to Thursday when he came to work on. Yeah. I mean, you can see it now with those shorts he has on. I mean, that
just
upper
a few
thigh.
numbers.
Yeah.
02. Yeah. Neil was 01. Yeah. I like to brand them. Yeah.
So that's part of it. Another one is actually a coming of age ceremony. Do you know this?
Yeah,
so somebody comes up, they do something crazy in the village, they go off and live in the forest for 40 days by themselves, and then they come back and then they put like a big smiley face on their upper left shoulder or something. Maybe cooler than that. But we are so isolated in America. We don't have any coming of age ceremonies. We have nothing to brand us. Or also sailors. What about that? It's like joining the fraternity, and then you get the club sign as well. Yeah. So it's like, I'm part of the pack. Obviously, soldiers do this too, right? You're part of the pack. We don't really have that anymore, and we long for it. We long to be identified with something, right? No, abstract that, from just throwing some ink on you. Think about the traits. Go back to what you just said. And it's like actually knowing how to do something. Well, when you've dedicated yourself to one particular craft, your body starts to change, right? There are certain signs, there's certain features about you that are then manifested because of the way that you've activated certain potentials day after day after day after day. Your hands get callous, your shoulders get broad, your legs get thick, whatever it might be. There's something that characterizes you based upon your activity. But I think the more and more that we are in front of our computers typing away, the less and less that our body actually solidifies and identifies who we are, right? I mean, even the fact of that you find both techies are super fat and super jacked doesn't really say much about what they do in the same ways. And I think getting a tattoo is craving for some sort of external identifiable marker for you, whether it is joining a group or it is performing a certain task or doing a certain work, right?
Yeah, I want to reiterate to those who are misunderstanding us that I don't think tattoos are intrinsically wrong unless you're getting something blasphemous or vulgar in the sense of sexually vulgar or something put on your body. But I do think it's time to just discourage tattoos. And again, as somebody with one, like I wish I didn't get it. I think you're kind of cooler without one because I do think it is. We have the breakdown of the family. Satan has desired to sift you like wheat. We are all sort of isolated. And one of the ways we find our identity and have it reaffirmed is through relationships, through loving relationships. And when we don't experience that, as you said, we go seeking it. People will even have themselves mutilated, right? Sexually, because they want to identify with a group and belong. Obviously, that's not the same thing as getting a tattoo. But I do think it might be kind of a cheap way to feel a sort of, like an unnecessary way to kind of identify with a particular group. Like, I didn't need to get this.
Right.
I got this when I consecrated myself to the Blessed Virgin Mary. So you might say, well, that's cool, Yeah. It could be way worse.
Right.
Yeah, but I didn't need to do that. I could have done something else, I think.
I think there is a positive side of tattoos.
Okay.
And what that is, or like our desire in getting them, as modern people. And I think it comes out of a frustration that our skin does not declare who we are. And that's interesting. That is genuinely frustrating. I think the negative side is then it's not good to be skeptical about the goodness of the skin that you've been given, right? and that you haven't taken that into a different activity to develop or a particular group to be caught up in a good sense, right?
Yeah. Well, let me read this because I think everyone will love what Pope Francis has done here, whether you agree with the tattoo thing or not. What we just said, I think you'll agree with this. Let's see. New rules for employees of St. Peter's Basilica issued June 29th specify that personnel may not have visible tattoos or piercings and theoretically could be suspended if they do. That just seems like a good work.
Yeah.
Like that. It sounds like I wish that Kroger would implement that. Right. When I see people with their 8,000 studs and tats up their face.
Totally.
And then you look at them and they look at you like, why are you looking at me? And you're like,
yeah.
You know why I'm looking at you. That's why you did this horrible thing to your face.
Yeah,
you know?
right. It's like some semblance of power that they now have over you.
The new provisions were part of a twin set of new statutes released on Saturday, with which the feast day of Saints Peter and Paul, one governing the Italian word that I can't pronounce well, yada yada. Among other things, the new rules require Basilica employees to commit to adhering to, listen to this, principles of exemplary religious and moral conduct, including not cohabitating outside of marriage.
Yeah.
You're allowed to do that if you want to work at St. Peter's.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Employees must not have a criminal record and must be both baptized and confirmed in the Catholic Church. They must also produce a letter from a parish priest testifying to their good standing. The rules apply to all employees of the Basilica who include artistic experts and architects in addition to so-called sempitrini, meaning laborers, I probably said that wrong, who carry out routine maintenance operations. I love this. I was just in Europe.
It's amazing, yeah.
And it's really frustrating when you're going to pray in a church that's inevitably having work done because it's an old building, and the people don't know how to act in a church. So they're yelling and they're kind of talking loudly while you're just there trying to pray.
Yeah.
And I also think there's something about you should present yourself in a respectable way and turning yourself into something other than you are. Sometimes you look monstrous because of the amount of tats and the amount of piercings you have is something that just generally speaking in society used to be frowned upon. You know, if you were going to go work even at a checkout, at least this was the way in Australia.
Yeah.
If you had tattoos or piercings, you had to get rid of them if you were a guy. Like there was something about we could have respect for how people are going to perceive you, as opposed to, no, everyone has to respect me. And if they have a problem with how I look, that's their fault.
Yeah.
So it becomes about your fault and about, what do you think? Other than what you've just said.
Well, part of it too is that there is, as you're insinuating there, that being part of the group that we call our society, like our society, is partly looking the same and looking respectable in the way that we've culturally chosen to look respectable. And so in the fact that you've chosen not to do that, you're actually saying, I don't belong here.
Yeah.
You know, I'm the black sheep of this family. It's like, and everybody's like, you're not the black sheep of the family. Why do you think that? You've self-declared it. It's a little bit of self-sabotage.
That's a good point. Mm-hmm. Like there might be tattoos that we don't see present today that we will see in 20 years. Mm-hmm. And if something like that existed today, for example, if I tattooed eyeballs on my eyelids, so when I shut my eyelids and open them again, or if I cut half of my ear off for some reason, the part not necessary for actually hearing, or something bizarre, and you kind of insert a person like that into today's society, you would clearly be separating yourself from that society.
Right. That's right. Yeah.
But then what do you say about a civilization or a group of people where it is the norm? Because I guess at that point it does become less inappropriate if you've got tattoos everywhere, if it's more common than if no one in the town has them.
I completely agree. I think that's right, actually. I think there is actually something very noble and honorable about the Navy guys getting the same tats, is that they're part of the group, and then you don't do it in a way that then of course, doing it in a way that you can be a part of the group, but while not distancing yourself from the wider society.
Yeah.
Right? So it's like on your upper shoulder or something like that. I think that's actually something that is too bad that we've lost, actually, and people might kind of come up with some sort of an objective argument saying that the condition with God gifted you is something to hold on to and not let go. And I think that there's certainly something to be said for that. But of course, you and I can name off a whole host of other things that we've done so as to fit into our culture. We dress in a certain way. We shave our head in a certain way. You need to get on board with that, by the way, Matt. You go all the way.
My hair's almost doing it naturally, but yeah.
You can just kind of go down the list of the social life of man is part of the way in which we are uniting together and then ultimately giving ourselves back to God, right? I mean, and while I'm very open to some objection, I would love to hear one to that. Even you talk here in Revelation about certain markings on the skin, right? So there's something that...
there you go. Yeah. Let us know in the comments section your brilliant opinions about tattoos.
Only your brilliant ones.
Only the brilliant ones. I don't want to hear any crap ones. I want to tell you about Hallow, which is the #1 downloaded prayer app in the world. It's outstanding. Hallow.com/Matt Fradd. Sign up over there right now and you will get the first 3 months for free. That's like a lot of time. You can decide whether it's useful to you or not, whether it's helpful. If you don't like it, you can always quit. Hallow.com/Matt Fradd. I use it. My family uses it. It's fantastic. There are over 10,000 audio guided prayers, meditations, and music, including my lo-fi. Hallow has been downloaded over 15 million times in 150 different countries. It helps you pray, helps you meditate, helps you sleep better. It helps you build a daily routine and a habit of prayer. There's honestly so much excellent stuff on this app that it's difficult to get through it all. Just go check it out. Hallow.com/Matt Fradd. The link is in the description below. It even has an entire section for kids. So if you're a parent, you could play little Bible stories to them at night. It'll help them pray. Fantastic. Hallow.com/Matt Fradd.